Unless you've been living under a rock, you'd know that the biggest issue plaguing the sprint car racing world right now is the unprecedented tyre shortage. If you're not aware, basically in a nutshell, there are material and staff shortages for well-known brands like Hoosier and American Racer over in the United States, where they are having to increase their tyre prices, which is passed on to the drivers and teams. Compared to last year alone, the prices have gone up by over 30%. One of sprint car racing's most successful drivers over the last couple of years is Brent Marks, and he's spoken out about it, saying he had a qualifying session where he spent over $1,100 on tyres alone, and that his tyre bill has gone up by tens of thousands of dollars compared to last year. Seems like a really less than fair deal, especially when tyres are doing this. They're basically falling apart on the racetrack. So basically there's increased prices but lower quality tyres getting pushed out. But that's why I wanted to make this video today, because this isn't a problem for Dirt X. What is Dirt X? I know that's probably what you're thinking, right? Dirt X is a new tyre brand created by Victorian sprint car driver Paul Solomon, and it could be the perfect answer for the sprint car racing industry everywhere. Now, one thing I should mention is that here in Australia, we run slightly different rear tyres compared to what they run in the USA. I won't go into too much detail about it, but basically in the USA, they run a W series or a H series of rear tyre, whereas in Australia, we still run what they ran in the USA before Goodyear came in like 2010, which is the D rears or the RD rears. I've seen a lot of people talking about the tyre issue both here in Australia and in the United States, and I thought it would be great to have Paul from Dirt X on for a chat, because a lot of you have been asking about what is this whole Dirt X thing. In this chat, we talk about the manufacturing process, where they're made, how they're made, who designs them, skepticism and criticism of the brand, and how Dirt X is dealing with the material and staff shortages that are plaguing competitors like Hoosier and American Racer. Before we get into the video though, I've noticed that we've got over 6,000 subscribers now on the YouTube channel, which is absolutely amazing. And we've also reached over 600,000 views for our videos combined, which is absolutely awesome. So thank you to everyone that has been watching. If you have already subscribed, I want to say thank you very, very much. It really does help us out. And I want you to treat yourself by heading over to sprintcarhub.com and getting yourself some merchandise. You can sign up to our newsletter there. You'll get an email that includes a discount code, and you can use that discount code for everything that you put in your very first order. If you haven't subscribed, all you have to do is click the red button down below that says subscribe. It helps us out a lot, like I said. All right, that's enough from me. Enjoy the rest of the video. Paul Solomon, you're the man behind the Dirt X Industries tyres. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Tell us about yourself and how you're involved in sprint car racing.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to grow up around Speedway since I was a little tacker with my father and some family friends racing. So couldn't see myself doing anything else. Love the sport. Yeah, just love it. So been racing myself for about 20 years now, which is a good thing. Yeah, so just a pure love for the sport makes me want to keep going and try new things.
So you obviously raced yourself. You're from Victoria, but you've now just created the Dirt X Industries tyres. Can you tell us when and why you created a new brand of racing tyre?
Look, about 5 or 6 years ago, back in 2016, I have these silly things where I wake up in the middle of the night and I'll just jot an idea down, and a lot of people that know me, I'll have a go at anything. So I sort of started doing some research, and over about a 3 or 4 year period, we ended up with some actual tyres, and since then we've just been continually updating them and going from there. But it was just more of I wanted to have another option out there. After years and years and years ago of seeing Goodyear sort of go off into the wind, and Mercury sort of disappear down here, and I just felt like there was a bit too much dominance from the competitors. So I just thought, at the end of the day, I can see that there's a lot of teams out there that look, some drivers will never win a heat, and there's some drivers out there that win everything. So to make them buy the exact tyre that may be a little bit expensive,
Mhm.
for a lot of the drivers out there, it's a hobby. And if they can save a couple $100 a night, well, that was what I was aiming for. So that was sort of why I started the whole deal.
Is your plan to be cheaper than, like, a cheaper option than the other brands?
Uh, we'd like to think so across the whole range. Obviously, we don't want to skimp on the quality. We've just based everything off a simple spreadsheet of profit and loss and what we want to put back into the community and speedway racing. So we're working off a very low volume percentage of profit, but our intentions are to be cheaper across the board, but at the same time deliver a quality or equivalent tyre to our competitors. So.
How involved are you in the manufacturing process?
So since day one, we from the rubber makeup to the construction, we're fairly involved. Obviously, we listen to the engineers, who is our supplier,
Yep.
which have a great understanding of racing tyres. They're actually the leading manufacturers of a lot of other racing divisions, from rally to drift to. So they have their head around it all. This was something totally new for them. So getting the rubber consistency was we were a little bit off, but not too far. So we think we've resolved that issue now, which we're pretty confident, and we're expecting the new sample tyres here over the next week or so.
Okay, so you had this idea in your head to create another brand of sprint car tyre. How did you go about that? What are your first steps in executing it?
Believe it or not, I could not tell you how I started it. I just continually was Googling. I was trying to work out how they were made, watching video after video. Originally, the first video I ever watched about making a tyre was a drag tyre, and the way they did it all by hand, and then sort of things progressed. But it was more I've learned more about tyres in the last 5 years than I've ever wanted to. So it's unbelievable, the amount of the mixtures, the construction, the amount of elements in one tyre is ridiculous. It was mind-blowing when I started getting right into it, but I'd hit a point where I'd spent so much money in developing the tyre that there was no turning back. So
I've got a couple of questions that have probably come across critical, but I know you're probably prepared for that. So who designs the treads, and what experience do they have in tyre manufacturing?
So I've obviously, over the last 10 or 15 years, we've been racing down here. We've had a few Americans come race for us. We've been racing in America ourselves, both my brother and I. We have a lot of good friends over there that are well-established racers themselves. And over the years, the other brands and the ones that have gone as well, you can sort of work out what was good, what was bad, and we've sort of tried to take the good bits of everyone's and try and applicate it onto one tyre. The main person behind the development of the tyre over the last 18 months is a good friend of mine who will be very soon be the main chief officer for DirtX himself, and will be taking over the reins. I simply want to go racing and enjoy myself and not have to sell tyres of a race night. So he's going to take over the reins of the whole company, and he'll call the shots. But I'm quite happy to do that with him.
From a driver's point of view, I think, okay, there's this other brand out there which you can't ignore, but just putting it bluntly, is if a tyre's made, I think they're manufactured in China, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so I would look at that and go, well, I don't really have so much of a problem with Hoosier or American Racer. Are you kind of wary of the perception of your new tyre being manufactured in China?
Yeah. Look, and I'm totally aware of how everyone's thoughts are on the whole thing globally. At the end of the day, there's without things made in China for our sport,
Mhm.
half the field wouldn't be racing right now.
Yeah, right.
Um, the reason things are so cheap compared back to 20 years ago is
Mhm.
because a lot of it is made in China. I
Sure.
I could list 20 brand names that are in our sport right now
Yeah.
that are solely made in China. But at the end of the day, you pay the quality is what you pay for.
Yeah.
So I could go get the same tire made for half the price,
Mhm.
but they'd probably fail. So I think the perception of made in China over the last 20 years has changed. Back when you would buy made in China product, you would get it
Mhm.
and it would fall apart in your hand. Now there are quality assurance and uh, their manufacturing processes now are so well established and
Yeah.
sometimes are better than what we can do here in Australia. It's sort of proves itself that it's a good product.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had our little issues here and there, but every new product does, and we're happy to take it on the chin and resolve it. So,
Have you been over to China yourself to see the manufacturing of the tires?
no, not personally. Obviously, with COVID, we were just planning on going, but it all
Yeah.
sort of fell over. Now we're not allowed to get over there for another 12 months, I don't think.
Mhm.
So we will eventually, but we've got a really good relationship with the supplier, and every daily we've got updates and things that we think we can improve and what we'd like to change. So the good thing about what we're doing is that if we have an issue and if the general consensus from the racer says, look, we want to change it a little bit, I'm happy to listen, and we can alter the mold, we can change the consistency, we can change anything. We
Sure.
have that power to do that. So um, over the last 12 months, since we actually got the 105 tyres, the right rear tyres made about 18 months ago to 2 years ago.
Sure.
Um, them tyres there, structurally, not a problem in the world. Um, they're not a problem whatsoever. It was just the
Yep.
rubber compound and the mixture that was a little bit off.
Sure.
So we've resolved that now. So for this season coming up, the sprint cars themselves that spin to 8,000, 9,000 RPM, there'll be
Mhm.
no issue whatsoever.
Yep.
So it's just a matter, it's a learning curve, but at the same time, we're going to try and offer a lot cheaper alternative. But and the aim is not to be better than our competitors, but to be on equal playing field.
Sure. And what about the safety side of the tire? Obviously, tires wear out and tires blow and things like that. Is that a major concern for you, or have you had any issues with the manufacturing as far as safety goes?
Now, so look, I'm actually really, really confident in the construction of the tyre. If anything, uh, they're overdoing it. Um, they try and make it too safe. So
Sure.
to get them to bring it back, so the tyre, the weight is down and um, so it acts like a normal sprint car tyre. We actually had to get them to manufacture it with less quality from their original samples.
Yep.
So, and that took a 12-month process of testing and back and forth. So
Sure.
the actual tyre, I'm quite I'm happy with. I love them. So
Sure.
uh, the when it comes to with tyres dilapidating and blowing up and things like that across the board from all brands,
Mhm.
there can be things in tyres that aren't right. So you're going to get that. It doesn't matter what brand it is, and we see that at the moment. But I look, and you know what? DirtX will have a batch down the track that I can guarantee it will have an issue here and there.
Sure.
There's no hiding that. So,
Yep.
but the good thing that we can honour is that if something does happen like that, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, "Here's a replacement."
Yep.
I'm not here to rip anyone off, and if there is an issue, even once it's mounted and dismounted, if there is an issue, give it back to me. I'll give you another one. I'm not here to um, I'm not here to get rich off it. I don't need to be doing this. So it's just more the love for the sport is why I'm doing it. And I just feel like it just needs a bit more competition out there.
So obviously right now, and one of the main reason why we're chatting is going on in sprint car racing is there's a major tyre shortage, no matter what brand it is. Hoosier has issues with, I think, getting staff and materials. And I know I've listened to podcasts and watched videos about American Racer, people talking about their struggles for materials like nylon and things like that. How are you able to cope with the tyre shortage, and how do you work your way around their issues?
Look, I haven't had any issue with shortages. My plan over the next few weeks would be to have at least 1,000 right rears and 1,092s and 1,094s landed here by the end of August.
Yep.
So when it comes to the not having enough supply, I don't believe I'll have that issue.
Do they have access to more materials over there?
You wouldn't believe where all the materials come from a lot of parts, even in the USA, Australia. So they're one of the main material resource countries in the world.
Sure.
So I don't feel I'll have any issue with getting the product, and I can pretty much get a container a week if needed. So it's just all based upon ordering and shipping, but it will be a learning curve this year again, whether we have enough or don't have enough. But I plan on having too many tyres in stock than not having enough for this season coming up.
So obviously you don't have to account for the volume of tyres, the quantity that some of the other brands have right now, as you're still growing the DirtX brand. But what are your intentions with the brand? What is the end goal? Do you want to grow internationally? Do you want to supply tyres for other categories maybe? What's the end goal?
So at the moment we have a few other tyres on the go right now. A couple of them we'll have ready for this season. So we have a purpose-built modified production tyre designed by 2 or 3 of the leading racers in the country, tread pattern, what they'd like in the sidewall and the whole works. And we take their advice as gospel. I've never raced a modified sedan, or modified production. So whatever they can tell me, and the feedback so far has been really good. So we have a few other tyres on the go, from Formula 500s to midgets and a few others. But they might be a little bit off yet, but they're all in the mould process. When it comes to getting into America, we plan on it. But Australia will be my main foremost selling point for tyres. I want to look after Australia first before I go too big and get over into America. We've had a lot of phone calls, emails.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, so there is a demand for it out there, and we will eventually get there and service it, but we just need to take our time, make sure we get the product perfect. Because at the end of the day, we only get one chance, especially with America. If you take an inferior product in there, they'll never look at you again. So with Australia, same thing applies. We obviously we had a little issue with the 105 tyres early on in the piece, just with their rollout, but nothing major. So that's probably a good thing for the wingless division. They're going to probably get some cheaper tyres until we run out of stock. So it's all, the whole aim of this is just to help the sport. I feel it's given enough to me where I'm happy, and I'll keep doing it for another 20 years. Don't get me wrong. I just love Speedway in general, and I wouldn't do anything else, no other motorsport whatsoever.
So to wrap things up, how can we buy a tyre?
Look, so all states and most territories have a dealer at the moment. So the new website will actually be up and running probably by the end of this week, along with a loyalty program and an app. So there'll be a few things just starting to take place right now as we speak. But all the dealers are just your normal racers, and they've got a small race shop or just love being at the racetrack. So the whole idea of this is if you have an issue with the tyre, just take it back to them. They're happy to honour it. I've given them the authority to do all that. The dealers in this country that we have at the moment are really good. They're they know it's coming. We've had a few little kickbacks, but it will eventually take off, and we will mix it with the big boys.
Before we finish, I just thought I might ask, have you copped any flack from any other brands about what you're trying to do?
I wouldn't say the other brands, no. But at the same time, I've had a little bit of pushback from governing bodies and things like that. But the worst thing, we've had some pushback from the governing bodies and so forth. But at the end of the day, the harder they push me back, the harder I'm coming. So my original plan was just to make a few sprint car tyres, and that was it. But now with a bit of help and some help with getting the company up and running a lot better, we're gonna give it a real hot shake now. So we plan on having 20 tyres, different size tyres available by the end of next season.
Wow!
So for different divisions, and we'll be getting stuck right into it. So we've also got a new warehouse here in Victoria getting built. So we'll be able to house them all and have a pretty good distribution network. Also, too, the racers don't actually have to buy them through their dealers. The setup on the website is that you'll be able to buy them through PayPal or on credit card. They'll be shipped straight to your door. And then we've got agreements with the dealers and that for their the other avenues, but just try and make it easy. I don't know. Speedway's been hard enough for the last few years, and it's we'll just try and give something back a little bit.
Too easy, man. I really love what you're doing. I think it's great to see, and I really look forward to see how it all pans out. Paul, thanks very much for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thanks, pal.